Name is Vera. Actually, was born in the Philippines, came to America when I was 3. My mother was fortunate enough. My mother had 8 brothers and sisters. Father had 9. So we were the only family from both our collective families to come to America. She was a nurse and was brought to America during the Vietnam War because there was a shortage of nurses, much like what's happening today, right, with COVID-19. And there's always going to be a shortage of nurses. And so she came to America with the promise of being able to bring her family to America after she spent time in America of about 18 months working in the VA hospitals, which then gave our family the citizenship, green cards, and so forth to get us here. So I grew up in Long Beach, California, and loved California, and went to UCLA, which was my dream school. And there I met my wife, Emily, who actually grew up here in Boise. She went to Capitol High School, graduated, and went down to UCLA. We met.
What year did she graduate?
She graduated 87 from Capitol High School.
Okay, I graduated 91, so she just missed me.
Oh, was it at Capitol as well?
Yeah.
All right, good. She had a younger sister, Sarah Miller, who I believe you might know. So there you go, Emily Miller.
Welcome to the podcast of How Small is Idaho, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. I guess you can call me. I'm the Kevin Bacon of Idaho, maybe. You are. So Sarah's my sister-in-law. Emily's my wife. Okay. We met down in college. I was in a fraternity. She was in a sorority. And during one dinner, when I took her out, she basically told me she didn't want to raise her family in California. I thought she was crazy, and because I love California. Long story short, here I am in Idaho.
Life more than California, Joe.
Yeah, I found. Yeah, definitely. It was the best move ever. Not just obviously meeting Emily and marrying her, and eventually moving to Idaho 20 years ago, raising our 4 kids here. But Emily was definitely a person that still today gives me a lot of perspective on life, because we came from different backgrounds. I'm from an immigrant family. Grew up in really kind of tough times, being an immigrant and living in a big city like Long Beach, which wasn't the easiest city to grow up in. I went to Long Beach Poly High School before I went to UCLA, where I tell my kids and the kids that I coach basketball, I also coach basketball, that every day at school I had to walk through a metal detector, so now walking through metal detectors isn't a big deal for me. Whereas with other people, they've never seen one or had to deal with it. Now they do when they go to the airports, obviously with TSA. But yeah, every day it was a daily event for me to have to, walk in to a school to say, all right, the reason why the metal detector's there is because people are bringing in bad things, and we had to deal with that. And I saw bad things almost on a daily basis. And so that was, I guess, part of what made me who I am today. Going to UCLA was definitely a big part of me. When in my fraternity brothers, I'm still very close to them. It was kind of a neat experience for me. People ask me what I learned in college, and besides maybe some of the fun stuff we did that maybe helped show up who I am today.
That's a different podcast, Joe.
It is a different podcast, maybe during happy hour, but really, what it taught me being in a fraternity, and I don't know, Shannon, if you were in a fraternity when you're in college, there's this thing called Rush where you had to go in and both, when you're not a member of the fraternity, you had to, in essence, sell yourself as a person, as a good fit to that fraternity. And then when you were in the fraternity as a brother, the rushees would come in and you would have to make a very quick decision. If you read the book by Malcolm Gladwell, Blink, it's that fast filtering system that you kind of build up and generate over time, to decide, all right, this person is a good person. I trust him or her, and I want to do business with them, spend time with them. They're going to provide some value to me as a person, and I want to provide value to them to kind of work together with them over time. And with fraternities and sororities, it's kind of the same thing. You're basically deciding, because at least I took the phrase brotherhood very, very seriously, and some people they joke about it, laugh about it, and I understand that, because there's some bad stuff out there, and some people that are in fraternities and sororities have made some bad decisions. But anyway, so that was, I think, a big part of what made me who I am today, was the ability to market myself to people and speak extemporaneously. Just quickly say, all right, here's who I am, and here's what I'm about and what I believe in, and then B, make decisions quickly with people to kind of decide, all right, this person's really listening to me, they really are engaging, or they're not. And I think the older we get, at least for me, my wife has told me, I've gotten a little less maybe tolerant over time, just because, when the older you get, you have more stuff or people you
Right.
accumulate or you talk to. And so I'm having to be a little bit more decisive that way. But bottom line, I think the key thing for me is trying my best because everyone is compressed with time, to really listen to people and really lock into what they're saying, and then quickly have at least an initial understanding of your path of how to best help them quickly, instead of doing what typical bankers do, which I call death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Right.
Which is basically, all right,
Fill
they'll ask
out
you
this,
questions.
fill
Yeah,
out
they'll
that.
drag you along.
Right.
Because, bankers love, I joke about it because I've been doing it for so long, because it's true, I guess. We love to take you to lunch and take you out golfing and
Fill
all
the
that,
file.
wine and dine you, until at the end, you know what, we can't help you.
Yeah.
And so I think that was one of the key factors of me learning of how to best, take care of people, and not even knowing I was going to get into the financial services world. And so during college, I started working in a bank. I thought I was going to be an attorney. Realized that the law world didn't fit me when I worked for an attorney as an intern for a bit. Fell backwards into banking as a teller, answering phones for a branch manager in a branch in Beverly Hills. Just because there's an office available there, a job opportunity, and then just kind of worked my way up the chain. By the time I graduated, I became a management trainee for Bank of America down in LA, and then ended up moving to Seattle because my then fiance, now wife Emily, got into the master's program at University of Puget Sound. So we decided to move up there. I joined up with Washington Mutual Bank and started with WAMU and their management training program for a couple years in the Federal Way and Tacoma offices. Then moved to Portland, where I ran branches for Washington Mutual for about 8 years. And then WAMU transferred me, or gave me an opportunity to move here to Boise in 2000 to run the Boise Town Square office for them. Okay. That's what got us to Boise. And after 3 years, WAMU was experiencing amazing growth. That was during the craziness heyday of lending and banking, and everyone thought that it could not end, and no one could do wrong, right? And so at that point, the bank was expanding tremendously. They wanted me to move back east. I had an opportunity to move to New Jersey, Chicago, Atlanta. I passed on all of them. The bank at that time then said, all right, if you keep passing, you got to move up to move out. It was like an old GE saying, right? And so I didn't want to move out, so I couldn't move up. And so I decided to find something else to do to keep me in town, to kind of maybe challenge me more than retail bank management. So I got into wealth management, did some investments, financial planning for a local broker, Bob Rathbone. Did that for a few years, and then missed banking. So go back into banking with KeyBank, worked for Joel Hickman. For a number of years. Joel's a great guy. Got recruited then by Washington Trust Bank and Dave Terrell. Worked there for about 6-7 years, and that was a good stint with Dave. And then that's when I ended up going more into the commercial real estate investor world. I was hired by A10 Capital, run by Jerry Dunn and Ken Wilson. Yep. And worked for A10 for about 2.5 years. And learned a lot from them. It was a great experience, but that position had me had me travel quite a bit. I was basically, my territory was pretty much the West Coast minus Southern California. I had Oregon, Washington, Idaho, which there weren't many deals big enough to land here in Idaho. So I spent most of my time in Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, Oakland, Palo Alto, the Bay Area.
Let me guess, Emily wasn't a fan.
She was not a fan, and my kids weren't either. Although maybe they won't admit it to you, Shannon. But I think they did miss me. I was missing a lot of basketball games. A lot of events. And my wife Emily, she appreciated the fact that I was working, but I was gone a lot. And so I was on a plane every Sunday night heading to a city, a destination, and then coming home typically every Wednesday or Thursday, trying to play catch up. And it was, initially it was fun. And I like I told Jerry and Ken at 810 when I decided to leave, I learned a lot because going from the owner occupied lending world and banking to the commercial real estate investor world that 810 provided. Working because 810 did the value add non-recourse bridge financing. And so learning that world and how investors think is really where I cut my teeth on and kind of the message that I've kind of carried through into today. And so after a few years of that travel, got burned out. Went on, joined a company called Vera Capital, which is a hard money lender based out of Kirkland, Washington. Right now, they're about a $150 million fund. I learned a lot from them. Dimitri Vizis is one of the principals there. Learned a lot from Dimitri. We're still friends, and did that for a couple years and ran their fund here in Idaho. They basically portioned out about $20 million to lend here in Idaho to build their hard money lending business here, and to help them develop and produce the new construction hard money program that they now still offer. Help them with understanding the credit side, leverage points, underwriting, and then they already had the closing documents and such in place to do that. So I kind of helped them develop that, and then led me to now I'm with Finance of America Mortgage. And so FAM is a company backed by Blackstone, one of the largest home lenders, retail and wholesale and reverse mortgage lenders in the country. And they also had a division called Finance of America Commercial, which did lines of credit for fix and flip, new construction, and also did a portfolio of rental property loans as well. And so that was my main focus.